Good morning, every friends. Welcome to BlockChain Daily News. Today is April 12th, 2024. I am digital anchor Amy. The news headlines shared today are: Mainland China's Harvest and Huaxia obtained currency circle asset management qualifications in Hong Kong, and Bitcoin spot ETFs will be launched by the end of April at the earliest. The Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission has finally taken a more substantive step towards digital currencies. In the early morning of April 10th, the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission updated the list of virtual asset management fund companies on its official website, adding Harvest International Asset Management Company, referred to as Harvest International, and China Asset Management, Hong Kong, Company, Limited, referred to as China Asset Management. That is, on top of the traditional asset management business of these public funds, the new virtual asset management business has been added. This means that the leading mainland public fund companies have finally entered the virtual asset industry in Hong Kong and have the qualifications to issue related currency fund products. According to the official website of the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission, there are currently 18 funds in Hong Kong that can conduct currency circle asset management. However, Harvest International and China Asset Management are among the first batch of public funds in Hong Kong to enter the currency circle. Tencent Finance learned on January 26 this year that Harvest International was the first fund to submit a Bitcoin spot ETF in Hong Kong. Nearly 3 months later, Harvest International finally added the qualification full currency circle asset management. This means that public funds, including Harvest International and China Asset Management, are eligible to issue fund products related to the currency circle to the public, such as Bitcoin spot ETFs. Retail investors can subscribe for relevant products through the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Exclusively learned from different sources that the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission urgently updated the list of virtual asset management funds in the early morning of April 10th because it planned to announce the list of Hong Kong's first batch of Bitcoin spot ETFs on April 15th. It was learned from different sources that the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission originally planned to approve a total of full Bitcoin spot ETFs in the first batch. In addition to Harvest International, there are also China Asset Management, Boshi Fund, and Value Partners Financial. However, Boshi Fund and Value Partners have not yet appeared in the list of virtual asset management funds updated by the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission in the early morning of April 10th. It was learned that these two funds themselves do not have independent ROS, note, Hong Kong licensed responsible person, that meet the asset management requirements of the currency circle. They cooperate with currency circle institutions, Hashkey Capital and VSFG respectively. Data from the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission shows that Hashkey Capital and VSFG are already qualified currency asset management institutions. Tencent Finance also learned that some Bitcoin spot ETF applicants, including China Asset Management, formed a temporary team more than a month ago and submitted their applications in the second week of March. China Asset Management was super fast and received approval from the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission within 2 weeks. Tencent Finance learned that China Fund once poached RO from a small Bitcoin futures institution. As of press time, China Asset Management could not be contacted for comment. The plan that needs to be met when submitting a Bitcoin spot ETF in Hong Kong involves at least 20 cooperative institutions, including Bitcoin custodians and market makers, institutions holding comprehensive virtual asset trading accounts, etc. If Hong Kong's application process and regular communication channels are strictly followed, it is unlikely that any institution in Hong Kong can complete all application materials in about half a month. According to Hong Kong's procedures, after the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission approved the first batch of Bitcoin spot ETFs on April 15th, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange will need about 2 weeks to prepare for product listing and other matters. However, in the early stages of the entire Bitcoin spot ETF project, the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, after detailed communication and planning, it is expected to be completed in about 10 days. The Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission originally planned to list Bitcoin spot ETFs in Hong Kong around April 25th and no later than the end of April. This is something worth looking forward to for ordinary investors. That is, they can make Bitcoin-linked investments by subscribing for this type of ETF. which is equivalent to opening up channels for retail investors to invest in the currency circle. The approval of the Hong Kong Bitcoin Spot ETF comes about 3 months after the US Securities and Exchange Commission approved the first batch of US Bitcoin Spot ETFs on January 11th. Public data shows that the asset management scale of the top 10 Bitcoin Spot ETFs in the United States is approximately $57 billion, including GBTC, with the top 3 accounting for more than 88%. Data shows that the size of GBTC under Grayscale Bitcoin Trust is $23.1 billion. GBTC was converted from a previous closed-end fund to a Bitcoin Spot ETF when the US Securities Regulatory Commission approved the ETF. The size at that time was close to $30 billion. Following GBTC are the Bitcoin Spot ETF, IBIT, issued by BlackRock, a large global public fund, and FBTC issued by Fidelity Fund, with management scales of $17.2 billion and $9.9 billion respectively. The Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission once hoped that Hong Kong would emerge from a similar market. That is, it hoped that the Bitcoin Spot ETF of Harvest Asset Management could benchmark BlackRock's IBIT. Some interested institutional investors in Hong Kong have analyzed Tencent Finance. Now that Bitcoin is on the rise and the Hong Kong stock market is not active, Bitcoin Spot ETFs are assets that many traditional institutional investors hope to allocate. However, compared with the United States, Hong Kong's Bitcoin Spot ETF may be about 1/10 the size of the United States. That is, it is expected that Harvest International's Bitcoin Spot ETF may reach a scale of about $2 billion. It is understood that the Hong Kong Securities Regulatory Commission has been catching up and accelerating after the United States approved this type of ETF. Compared with the Bitcoin Spot ETF in the United States that can be purchased in legal currency, the local Bitcoin Spot ETF in Hong Kong has added Bitcoin Spot subscription. That is, investors can subscribe to this type of ETF on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange through legal currency, or through compliant the Currency Circle Exchange uses Bitcoin Spot to subscribe. This is the main reason for the delay in the launch of the Hong Kong Bitcoin Spot ETF. Public information shows that there are currently only 2 licensed virtual asset exchanges in Hong Kong, Hashkey and OSL. This means that if investors want to subscribe for this type of ETF with Bitcoin Spot, they can only go through the above 2 exchanges and have no other choice. On January 26, Harvest International became the first institution to submit a Bitcoin Spot ETF application in Hong Kong. At that time, the 2 local compliant currency exchanges in Hong Kong did not understand the relevant processes, and they even did not understand the technology and processes of ETF internally. This has also slowed down the progress of the entire project to a certain extent. More importantly, although the 2 exchanges have not fully disclosed their local specific user data, some investors told Tencent Finance that compared with platforms such as Coinbase or Binance in the United States, Hong Kong's existing 2 users of these exchanges are completely different from each other. However, as the leading exchanges in the currency circle, Coinbase and Binance have so far given up their plans to submit applications in Hong Kong. Okay, today's blockchain news headlines are shared here. I am a digital human made 100% by artificial intelligence AI. If you like my show, please like, subscribe and forward my videos to your friends. AIGPU is AI technology that truly everyone can use. See you tomorrow.